Yes, Chef.
With Ryan.
It is Tuesdays. I can safely say this, my favourite weekly segment, because there's food in the studio. Unless it's a food that I really hate, then it's my least favourite weekly segment. But Ryan, you're one of my favourite guests. Good morning.
Thanks, buddy.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, we got a nice message from Will, and I think this is how many of our listeners feel. From Canada, says, "Good morning, Chef Ryan. I hope you're doing well since last Tuesday, and I look forward to what you bring as you do with each of your visits every single week. Thank you so much."
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I have a lot of fun getting ready for this. So.
Really?
I do. Well, sometimes I get to tease Peter, and other times I get to, get something out of the back of the cupboard that I don't use very often. Can you see this thing?
That is today. If you're watching the video radio, and if you don't any time throughout the week, then that's understandable. But today, we have the food in the studio every Tuesday in a wonderful pot as well, a traditional Korean pot. Is this what is known as a kamasot?
Kamasot or dosot, yeah.
Kamasot, dosot. So it's a stone pot with a stone lid. And if according to the script, it says in many rural areas here, you still can come across these and people still use them to cook their rice in a traditional way rather than the electric rice cookers. So this week we're talking about Nurungji, scorched rice, the crispy part of overcooked rice that's left on the bottom of the pot. Ryan, wow. So you've got one of these in your cupboard.
Yeah, I don't use it very often, but I love it. It's something neat about it. Okay, you ever grow up with a pressure cooker going for lunch or anything?
That's something I came across here in Korea.
Guess the rice cookers here, the fancier ones are pressure cookers.
Yeah.
But I think people kind of forget what that is and how that works.
It's just built into that thing.
Yeah, and this was kind of like the original pressure cooker.
Oh, I guess so, because the lid is so heavy it stays on.
Exactly, you already know. Yeah. So there is like a little lip on the inside of the lid, and it has to be made really well so it's even. Well, I had this kicked up all the way on high heat this morning. A little bit of steam was coming out, and then I just kind of spun the lid a little bit. You can hear it.
Oh wow,
it's heavy,
stone on stone, yeah.
So it really kind of seals it in, and just like a pressure cooker, there's that little weight on there that's
sure, letting it come out little by little,
right, and that's controlling the amount of pressure, so that it's got enough to really cook that rice well.
So you've cooked rice in there this morning.
Yeah,
this
morning.
Still warm? Can I touch it?
Oh, it's hot. This was making my truck.
That's still so hot.
It was like I had the heater on in the pickup truck.
That's amazing. On a summer day like today, that's not a good thing.
But, I know.
Wow. So that stays hot for a long time.
Yeah, because I started that at about I guess it's exactly 2 hours ago, and it's still really nice and hot, and hopefully it's got a really nice Nurungji on the bottom.
Ooh,
the
scorched rice. Fingers crossed, right?
You ready to open this sucker?
Oh, okay. So let's do it on video radio. Okay. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go.
There we go.
Ooh, it's the healthy rice in there as well, with some pine seeds I see on the top.
Yeah, there's some pine nuts and some pumpkin seeds, and there's a little bit of the black rice, a little bit of brown rice, a little glutinous rice or sticky rice, all kinds of different grains. This is the way I think you would usually see it. I've been lucky enough to visit some of my students' grandmothers' homes, for lunch or something.
Yeah.
And they always bust out something like this.
It's the traditional way. Many people say the rice tastes the best from here. For any of our listeners or viewers, because this goes up on YouTube, this video, that don't know Chef Ryan, he is a global chef here in Korea. You teach students to cook as well as running lots of operations and consultancies for restaurants.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and we've got a pop-up restaurant this Saturday.
Seriously?
It's gonna be on the farm. It's the first one.
On the farm.
I'm really excited. That farm is so much work, Peter. Oh my, it's ridiculous. But there's a lot of stuff ready right now.
Wow.
And I don't sell it in a market.
Yeah.
I want to use it at the college with the students. But then there's just so much that we're going to do these events probably every month and have people come out and do farm to table right there. You sit next to the plants
Seriously?
that you're enjoying.
And you're going to cook it outside as well?
That's right. We've got an outdoor kitchen set up with a smoker there, and
and anyone can go.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can they
It's
find more
open to the public.
information about that?
On social media, it's pretty easy to find me and find information about it.
So they can just follow you on social media and then get some links from there?
Absolutely.
So it's Ryan
Wesley Phillips. Yeah.
Ryan Wesley Phillips. Okay, now we're going to go into the rice itself. So the Nurungji is the bit at the bottom that is scorched.
I'm
right?
hoping it's crispy enough. It doesn't look like it's really that crispy on the bottom, but
it's difficult to tell, isn't it? Because it's at the bottom.
Well, I'd prefer to have it like just a little crispy than burnt, right? I mean, it's a little tricky, but I think we've got a little bit of Nurungji on the bottom.
Oh, the rice smells so good. So to cook this in this traditional stone pot, how would you do it, Ryan? So you got your rice.
Well, it is a little time consuming. I guess the grandmothers would always tell you got to soak the rice.
Yeah.
And the grains overnight.
Especially the grains, I hear, like hyunmi and things like that, which I've got to find what is the English translation to hyunmi.
Brown rice.
Brown rice. Yeah. Oh, is that? It's very simple, isn't it? If you don't soak them, then they can be very hard if they're just cooked the regular time.
Right.
So my wife will always soak them overnight, maybe leave them in the fridge or out on the counter.
Especially the glutinous rice as well.
The chapsal.
Yeah, I've got a great friend from Laos, and she taught me how to do the glutinous rice the way they do there. And you've got to soak it for at least 3 or 4 hours. It's awesome, but you always just have to have you have to know that you're going to be ready to have that in advance, or else you can't enjoy it.
So
waiting.
After all the stuff is soaked, then you put it all in this bowl, and then the key to rice, I feel, is always the amount of water you put in. So what's your trick?
Man, I don't know that there is really a perfect trick, especially when you're dealing with so many different grains. You just get used to it.
So how much did you put in there? That rice was nearly, I'd say, like 4/5 filling that bowl.
I would say after soaking all night, there was less than a centimeter of water over the top of the grains of rice.
Did you soak it in here?
No, I soaked it in another bowl, and then poured it in here this morning. Of course, washing it quite a bit. Traditionally in Korea, you wash rice 3 times.
Yeah. What is that for?
Get a lot of the starch off.
Okay. Yeah. Does that make it taste better? Is too much starch not a good thing?
Well, and also you can use that starch in other dishes here, like jonggukjang or doenjang. They'll often, rather than just use straight water, they'll use the starch. It kind of thickens things up a little bit.
Yeah.
For the rice, if there's too much starch, it'll be kind of like juk, like porridge.
I see.
So yeah. Now what we do is we pour this water. Can you do that, Peter?
Okay, so what Ryan has done, for anyone who can't watch video radio, is you've taken all the rice out, apart from the stuff left stuck to the edges.
Right.
And now we are going to... it's a bit hot, but maybe you can see inside on the video radio now. This is what's left, stuck to the sides and the bottom. This is the Nurungji. And we add this boiling water that we've already boiled. How much do you want in there?
Oh, just enough to barely cover the rice.
Okie dokie.
I think it'll be fine. Yeah.
I've been told I can't spill this in the studio, otherwise I'm fired. So I'm being very careful. Is that enough?
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okie dokie.
So we'll
So look at that. It's just kind of covering the rice. And then the next step.
Yeah. Now, often when you see this in a restaurant or at home, this is still so sizzling hot that when you pour in that water, it's like, oh, I love it. And then it just pulls that crispy bits of rice off of the stone pot. And you let that sit while you enjoy the rest of your meal. And then you come back to it for, I guess, dessert. But
yeah, it's not a sweet traditional dessert in that sense, is it? Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's like kind of the finishing touch to your meal.
Exactly.
You're right. This rice that we've all taken out, of course, this is not going to waste. We're not throwing this away.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
This is what you eat with then the panchans, and the side dishes.
I did pull some of the Nurungji off right there. You can kind of see the little crispy bits.
Yeah, right there.
This is known around the world in different cultures as something really awesome. It's not just the Koreans. In Spain with paella, these are the best parts of the paella, the little crispy bits at the bottom.
Do they treasure them there?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
Didn't know that.
In around Persia and Iran, there's like tzatziki, I think. No. I have to look it up again. But there's the crispy bits on the bottom of gormazabzi. This awesome dish with a lot of herbs and preserved limes and you do the rice and get it really crispy on the bottom. And it's really similar to this.
Oh, so nice. I didn't think that, because I used to think when I first saw Nurungji, that's just like positive marketing on the rice that you've ruined, like the burnt stuff. But it is so different and so good.
Well, my theory on this actually is that mom or grandma doing the cooking didn't want to scrub that pot by herself. So
get all the burnt bits off.
And you don't waste food. I mean, think about all the work that goes into farming rice. And then you've got to take those plants and dry them a bit, and then husk all the, get the rice, and then maybe polish it.
Labor intensive.
I mean, you don't want to waste a single grain of that. So by doing this, and also as a finisher to a meal, when you go and have a really nice curry, a lot of times at the end of the meal, what do you have? Like the rice and the yogurt, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of just calms down your stomach a little bit. And in Korea, a lot of times we'll have spicier or stronger flavor foods. And so
really
by having this at the end, it kind of just calms everything down.
I guess that's true, right? Yeah, to put a kind of lid on things, so to speak. And so that's an interesting thing about Korean cuisine. You won't get this in every restaurant. You need to go to a certain type of restaurant where they'll give you the 돌솥밥. Usually it'll be on the menu. And it's 돌솥밥, not 돌솥 bibimbap, which is different. That's the mixed rice in the stone bowl.
Right.
But the 돌솥밥 comes like Ryan has just shown us, usually in individual portions, so smaller than this. This is not rice for one person at all. And then, exactly like you said, you do this at the start of the meal, then you eat the normal rice that was inside, you pour the water in the 돌솥 with the lid on, and let that just, I don't know, get all the flavors, and like you said, get all the rice unstuck from the sides.
Here in Korea, we don't really season rice at all. Everything else, balances with it. You don't want to mess with the rice too much. Now, you can add some ingredients to rice here, like the Korean dates, the different seeds, the ginkgo or ginkgo nuts.
Yeah, they taste good inside. Sometimes peas.
But we don't do, peas. But we don't do salt and we don't do sugar, really. So
yeah, it's up to the side dishes to add that flavor, right? So what are we gonna try it now? Do you think it's ready, or should we wait for the song
We can do that.
break?
I also brought this other type. This is a really popular snack.
Oh yeah, kids love it as well, and it's relatively healthy, right? This is a type of Nurungji.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
the
super
scorched
crispy.
rice.
And you can buy this in any supermarket around, or even sometimes the smaller shops.
So this is literally like potato chips, or a snack that you could have any time of the day, right?
Right.
And how is this made then? Obviously it's the burnt rice on the bottom, but then is it dried out or something?
These are pretty mass produced. So my guess is they take it and they spread it out over a pan and bake it. But traditionally it would be done like this.
So you could just bake this at home with cooked rice and just spread it out like that. You can hear that crunch, right? And it's good. Like, and you get that kind of burnt flavor, right?
A little bit scorched, yeah. Not so much that it really seems burnt.
No.
There's a little bit of a nuttiness to it, of course. There's a savoriness to it. When I first came to Korea and I tried these things, I was kind of like, meh. There's not a lot going on there, But it does grow on you because there's some kind of like wholesomeness to it and a subtle, delicate flavor to it. So
yeah, and I think that if you're going to have potato chips or something unhealthy, this is your healthy alternative.
Oh,
right?
That's way better than something deep fried. There's no
seasoned as
oil
well.
here, right? Yeah,
it's just been baked on a tray, right?
I was asking some of my culinary students about Nurungji in preparation for today's show, and I was like, what's your favorite way to have Nurungji? And some of them said they'll sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on these, or just sugar, and enjoy them that way.
Yeah, I've had them seasoned before, and that adds something, but obviously they're less healthy. And just it's fun crunching these, like they're so loud in your mouth. I do apologize if that's putting anyone off at home listening, but they are delicious. Why don't we try that when we come back from a song break,
Perfect.
Brian? Give it a little more time to fester in a good way. This is Taeyeon now with Make Me Love You. We're back for part 2 of Yes Chef. We've got Chloe and Millie from the UK who have flown in, obviously specially just to see #DailyK today and talk about Nurungji. Yeah, absolutely not, so nice. No. But they've tried some Nurungji. I'm not sure what they thought about this type because it's quite flavourless, but at least it's got a crunch and it's healthy.
Yeah, and you know, spoiler alert, there's not a whole lot of flavour here either. But,
that's the thing, right? It's not full of flavour, but do you know what I like? When you say, you know, many Koreans have this as the finishing touch to a meal, I still like to add some banchan, some side dishes to this to add some flavour, like a bit of kimchi on top.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can
or
always
something
do
else stimulating.
Well, and, you know, there are other kinds of nurungji, too. You know, whenever you do kind of the bokumbap on the grill at the restaurant after you've had everything, and you press it against that iron plate.
The waitress will usually do that, right?
And let it get, you know, really crispy on the bottom. That's, wow. Because there's lots of flavor there. There's the laver, the kim in there. Yep. There's, like, red pepper paste, maybe. There could be egg mixed in there. It's just like a stir-fried rice kind of pressed against it.
And like juices from whatever meat was being cooked on that pan. And then you scrape it off with the spoon, and it does taste amazing. Yeah, that's another form, I guess, of nurungji, right?
You mentioned the bibimbap, the dolso bibimbap. You can take that and press... You know, lots of different rice dishes are served in the stoneware pot.
Yeah.
And then you take it, mix it all up. Maybe it has fish eggs in there. Maybe it has kimchi and a lot.
Good.
Yeah, and you press. Sometimes they have cheese nowadays, right? And you press it against the sides and let it just sizzle. And you can, you know, this thing is really hot in front of you at the table.
Yeah, and it's crisping up in front of you. All right, so I'm looking forward to this. See, what's happened, if I can just show our listeners, is all the rice has come off from the sides. It's no longer stuck there, it just naturally falls off. So maybe you're right. It was a way for mothers and grandmothers to avoid hard washing up.
I really think so. Yeah.
And then you just scoop this out, and then we're going to eat it.
Waste not, want not.
In this bowl, right?
Yeah, downstairs in the cafeteria, this is every day.
Seriously?
Meal. You never noticed that?
They have it for every meal.
Every single meal, it's always there.
I think they've been withholding it from me. They thought maybe I'd eat it all. So we'll scoop it out with the ladle into the bowl, and yeah, you may think a finishing touch, or as it's dubbed, a dessert. It doesn't look like a dessert at all, but maybe a bit similar to rice pudding, but not as sweet at all.
Right.
Just literally rice in some warm water.
Well, I got you a really nice posh spoon.
It is a really posh spoon. Is this like a proper soup spoon? Oh, I've never had it with pumpkin seeds, I don't think, Ryan. Let's give it a try.
Add a little something to it.
Okay. Yeah. It's very, like we say, plain.
Yeah,
it's got a really healthy taste. Right?
The first time I had this, some Korean folks that are older than me, so you know a lot comes along with that. They said, "Oh, this is our Korean dessert," and they just left it at that. And I was like, "Are you joking? Are you serious? Are y'all teasing me right now?"
And when you tried it as well, you thought it was still a joke, right? Because it's so plain and there's nothing sweet about it.
I didn't get it. I didn't understand. But now after years in Korea and realizing, you know, how the pot works and how you're not wasting anything. It's a really nice finisher. Still often in many company cafeterias all around the country, this is always available.
Yeah.
Because traditionally it's what you have at the end of your meal.
And you're right. I get some bad stomach acid. I'm going to admit that on the show. And heartburn. This would be great as a balance, especially just before, I finish my dinner. Because usually I get it at evening times. But this would really settle things down, I think. We got a load of messages coming in. Will from Canada says a question. So you can cook different rices together, but how do you know the proper amount of fluid and the amount of time to cook when you're cooking the different ones? Is there a tip to that?
Well, I got to say that, you know, I learned by trial and error. Definitely you need to know your cooking apparatus, if it's a pressure cooker, if it's a stone pot or a rice cooker. The fancy Korean rice cookers, man, they are really something. I mean, there's buttons and for all different kinds of rice, water levels on the inside. It makes it too easy. I don't like to use those. I actually have two, and I haven't turned them on in 2 years or more.
Really? Do you always do it manually then, cooking rice at home?
I do. I don't always use the stone pot, but I like to use a heavy bottom pot. I get upset with my students when they don't know how to cook rice without a rice cooker, because I mean, it's just kind of silly, right?
Are you calling me silly on the show? No,
well, you're not a culinary student, but if you really want to try to figure out how to combine the grains, I think soaking them overnight in the fridge, and then adding about half as much water as you normally would. Yeah, that's a pretty good trick. I had a friend. They're almost like family. They moved down south now, but my friend's wife, she would always put her hand on top of the rice.
I was going to say this.
And if the water level went just barely over her knuckles, then that was the perfect amount of water.
Yeah,
that's how she gauged it.
Even the trick that I still use for rice in the rice cooker. Because although they've got the lines on the side, my mum taught me, you put your hand on top of the rice, put it flat, so your palm's on the rice, and then I was taught above the knuckle of my thumb. In particular,
some people's hands are bigger.
It's so true.
but yeah, I mean, you get used to your own hand and where that water needs to be, and because again, it's trial and error. With this thing, some steam escapes. With a pressure cooker, very little moisture is lost. So you just gotta get to know your stuff.
And Will also says, I love that stone pot. Can you find these quite easily on the internet, perhaps? And could you spell out the names? Well, in Korean, it's either kamasot or tolsot. In this case, I guess this is more of a tolsot, a stone pot. So that would be DOLSOT, I suppose. Maybe type in with traditional Korean.
I have seen in the States, in Korean markets, the more common black one.
Okay. The less heavy duty.
Right. It's so common here. You see them in every restaurant. And that would work, but you got to be able to find the lid for it too. I think they have those as well.
Yeah, but the lids for those ones also tend to be a little lighter, right? Than these stuff. So maybe you'd have to put like a stone on top or something like that. Yeah. Soap Doll in Korea is also very complimentary about your pot, saying it's really nice. Wow, I'm not teasing today. And Tolsop pap is really yummy. My mum also swears that the rice from a stone pot tastes so much better than from a rice cooker. Yeah, you just can't get the same flavors. Siska in Indonesia says, happy Tuesday. What is the food in the hot pot? I can't believe it. The dosok rice. I love the rice crust. That's what we're doing today. The nurungji that sticks to the hot pot. One of my friends asked me before if I'm still hungry and asked me to order another one. He didn't know that the rice crust that sticks to the bottom part is the best. Oh, so when one of your friends saw you scooping it off, you're like, are you really that hungry, Siska? But you're right. That is the best part in some cases, like we said, with the fried rice at the end of a meal in Korea, where the waitress will make it really thin, almost like a pancake. It's so good.
It's hard not to like that one.
Yeah. We got a few more messages. Oh, lots of messages. Annie from Singapore says, this brings back childhood memories. When I was a young child, my mother used to cook rice using a clay pot, and there will always be a layer of nurungji at the bottom of the pot, and she always pours water over it, and I love to eat it. It's been many years since I last ate that. So it's not even exclusive to Korea, this pouring of the water on it.
Oh, yeah. So this is the only place I've really seen that a lot. But
yeah, me too. But even in Singapore, Annie, that's interesting, isn't it? Siren from the US says rice water can also be used in your beauty routine. I use it as a cleanser and a toner. All the natural, plus you'll smell like rice, and rice smells fantastic in my opinion. Ryan, there's an idea for you.
All right, come here, Peter. I'm going to put this on your face.
Put it on for a skin cleansing. I'd love it, yeah. Maybe not so hot, though.
Didn't I see you wearing a mask on social media here recently?
Let's not talk about that. And Will also said from Canada, I also meant to ask, once you've soaked the rice, how do you cook it then? You wouldn't use the same amount of water, do you? If you want to flavor the rice, should you soak it in flavored water?
Traditionally in Korea, no.
No.
It's just straight water. Wash it 3 times. Now, some of the grains you don't have to wash 3 times. I would say the brown rice doesn't have hardly any starch on the outside. The black rice as well. And I didn't soak the black. I know short grain and long grain. This is a good conversation that can give tips to folks. Long grain rice, you can look at the grains and see the size and shape and kind of judge, how fast they're going to cook.
Yeah.
A really thin long grain rice, like the black rice here or purple rice, I knew it was going to cook a lot faster. Okay. So I actually did not soak that overnight. That was the one grain out of all of them that I just added this morning and washed.
Oh, I see. So it really depends on each grain as well.
You know, it does. I can't say I'm a real expert on every single individual grain. I mean, it's common here to buy a mix of, say, 20 or 30
yeah,
or 12.
They'll have it in a pack together,
exactly.
all mixed in. Yeah.
And it adds a lot of different vitamins and different, just a complex diet.
Yeah, and you're not
rice.
Expected to cook them all differently. You just put them all in the rice.
Right, and if you're doing a cup of rice, then you only do like maybe 2 tablespoons of these other grains to combine in there, and it just adds... It adds some healthiness, you know.
Yeah, I also like the poribab, you know, the barley rice.
There's some barley in here.
Oh, yeah, you can taste it, the little pop to them, a bigger pop, right? Ingyin from Afghanistan today, but usually from Malaysia, says the purple rice is so pretty. I've tried it in Korea, love it, especially with the pine nuts. Mum made some brown rice yesterday. She sometimes adds red beans to it as well. That's fairly common here as well. I love Nurungji. I go for dolsop bibimbap over regular bibimbap any day. Will you be having shike too? Oh, that's a good dessert, isn't it?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I got to learn how to make that. A friend would make it, and it was so good.
Yeah.
It's the sweet rice drink,
Yeah,
kind of like
horchata,
rice. Like Mexican horchata.
Does that have rice grains in it as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
I thought that was so weird the first time I had a drink that had rice grains at the bottom. I thought someone didn't wash their cup or bowl.
It is so incredibly refreshing in the summertime. Sometimes you'll see the ladies selling it on ice, you know, on the street or in the market areas.
My kids love it as well. And that's relatively healthy because it's got rice in it, but it's very sweet.
Traditionally, yeah, it had different kinds of sweeteners in it, and it was really healthy.
Yeah. Lisa from the UK, whose daughters Chloe and Millie are outside the studio, says, "Hello, Chef Ryan. The rice looks so good. What's the bowl next to the kettle?" Oh, this is the crispy one, right? That we had earlier. That your daughters have also tried. I'm not sure how much they liked it, but anyway. Nowadays, the modern rice cookers don't have the scorched rice at the bottom anymore, unlike the traditional ones. I love rice that's cooked in clay pots. My favourite is salted fish with pork and ginger strips, or the traditional Chinese dish of Chinese sausages and belly pork that's marinated in wine and hung up to dry. Oh, that sounds so good.
Oh, that sounds really good.
I'm really hoping.
I've got some pork belly curing right now at the college to use for this pop-up thing this Saturday, man. It's...
I may have to come. And I hope that Chloe and Millie have bought some of this traditional pork belly Chinese style in their gift bag. But I don't think so. I didn't see anything like that. It's full of sweeties, which is also fantastic. Ryan, that's been fantastic today. We've been talking about this nurungji, the scorched rice, and you see how it's traditionally cooked in this stone pot. And you can check out this video and all our Tuesday videos on our YouTube channel. That's Arirang Radio's YouTube channel. Search out #DailyK, and we're here every single day from 9 to 11 a.m. KST. Ryan, I think we should go outside and share all this rice.
Absolutely.
With everyone. There's
I was
going to
steal it and take it home with me.
No.
I can share a little
Sharing is caring. That's what my mother used to say. Anyhow, let's play a song. We'll see you next week.
Great, man.
Okay, this is Sunny Hill. Goodbye to romance.